Welcome back to YachtBuyer 360. Today we've got the Aiata Wayfinder 38, and before we get into what this boat is all about, let's flip the camera around and I'll show you some of the stats. So she's around 38 feet, just shy of 12 meters. You can see this one's got twin 350 horsepower Hondas with a top speed of 51 knots, but there's a big range of engines. You can have all twin outboards, but you can have Mercuries, you can have these Hondas, Yamaha, Suzuki. As you can see, the boat next to us, which is exactly the same model, different layout, has got Mercuries. But with these 350 horsepower Honda V8s, this is going to crack 50 knots. In fact, maybe a bit more, because the testing they did was on the cabin version, which is heavier than this, so this might be close to 55 knots, which is pretty impressive. And it's a modular arrangement. We've got three versions here. We've got the Suntop, this fishing version, and then right over there is a cabin version. We're going to have a look at that at the end of the video, but I'm going to focus on this one because I think it looks like a really nice spec actually. And it's modular, so you can change the furniture, you can change the layout, you can even, if you want, make this into a cabin version by putting on the sides. So if you want to have an open boat all summer, you can have it like this, and then the after sales agent or the local dealer can come and fit the sides for the winter, so then you've got a cabin boat in the winter. How clever is that? Anyway, let's look specifically at this layout. So you've got this sliding wet bar right aft. You can see it slides. That's really so that you can slide this whole unit forward and lift up the outboards. It doesn't create a walkway across the back, but it means you can pull the outboards right out and they're not going to clash with this unit. Rod holders here, and you've got your cup holders in the middle. And then, as I said, this version anyway, is orientated towards fishing. So you've got your sink here, you've got bait wells. It's a really practical space to store bait, fishing equipment, and somewhere where you can wash up and prep as well. But if you wanted a barbecue back here, for example, then that is an option you can have. Loads of space in this area. Because this is for fishing, they've left it really quite open, but there's storage underneath this deck here. It's all lined out as well, nice and cleanly done. In fact, I'll just pop one open so you can see how they look. There you go. So you can see, nicely lined, drained as well, so you can put wet stuff in there and it will drain out. Pops up on a gas ram, and you can see there's a nice line of them all the way forward. Fill it with water bottles, kit, drinks, whatever. It's just really useful stuff. The other nice practical thing is that you have boarding gates on both sides, and they're split gates as well. I can actually open the one on this side. So you can open that one like that, and then this pins down but then opens up, clips back like that, and you've got this really nice low open space to board from the side. That works really well. Now, it's a Turkish company. It's backed by a big Turkish conglomerate, and they're building all the boats in Turkey as well. And they talk a lot about the quality, and I have to say, at first glance, of course, this is first glance, it's a new brand, we're at a boat show, never been on board before, but just interacting with it, touching it, feeling it, the mouldings, the quality of the stainless steel, it all looks and feels really good. Of course, a sea trial would be the way to really find out how well it hangs together. But yeah, certainly to look and touch, it feels like a nice bit of kit. Overhead here, we've got a canopy that comes out at the touch of a button, so you can provide some shade to this area. And this is quite clever. You've probably spotted that there's a footrest underneath this area, and that's because if I move these cushions, this entire bench will flip over, and then you can see you've got a footrest and some storage down there so that people can rest their feet when they're looking out the aft end of the boat. I think that works really nicely. Moving forward into this area, so there's more storage in the floor here. Note you've got steps up off the side of the boat. I mean, it really comes up in terms of the height of the bulwarks here, so when you're moving forward you feel nice and protected. They're quite low at the back, so it's easy for people to get on and off, but then as you move forward these come up much higher, and I really like this detail. Stainless steel, wooden handrails, looks and feels really nice. And this is open-sided. There's loads of head height with this hardtop as well, plenty of clearance here, and it's all flat as well. There's nothing to trip over as you walk around this deck. And then of course you want to use this area as a seating space, you can flip this back over the other way and it faces into the boat as it was before. There's an option to have a little, well, I was going to say galley, but more of a small wet bar out here with a sink, a whole bit of storage underneath. And you've got the helm station, and much like the seat behind, this is two ways. So this will flip over, so it can face into this seating as well, or this is it in your helm station arrangement when you want to drive. It doesn't turn into a leaning post or a bolster, but you have got a footrest that comes down, and you've also got one on the helm. So even though you're forced to sit, you should be able to get nice and comfortable. I'll sit at the helm myself. And yeah, that's a nice view. It's quite a high dash, but it's all really nicely presented. Twin Garmin MFDs. See, this boat's got the optional joystick. It's also got a bow thruster, your twin throttles here, and these line up really nicely with the wheel. It's a good position, this. I feel like I'm nice and close to everything, but I can brace myself as well if conditions are a bit bumpy. There's also the option to have a fabric sunroof overhead. This is obviously fixed, but you can have a fabric sunroof. I believe one of the other boats on the stand has got that, so I'll show you when we move along. We'll stay on deck. Again, I just really like this detailing. You know, the use of wood here just brightens things up a little bit. And again, you've got cup holders here, cup holders on the dash, a little bit of storage underneath the dashboard as well, and some storage overhead. Very nice. Right, carry on forward. Pop-up cleats. Nice touch. And these are your loops to hang your fenders. So you have got railings up here as well. Note you've got another rod holder, but you could tie off your fenders to your railings. And I think this is quite a big difference to a lot of this style of boat. You can probably see the shape of the hull here. But I'll just extend the camera so you can see a bit better. See how flat that is? Flat and wide, and that does two things. So you can see it's quite flat around the outer edge of the hull. Well, that's going to really help deflect spray. You can see you've got this nice curve at the side of the hull. It's going to help deflect spray. It's also going to help in a following sea. It means the bow's not going to get buried. It also means when you're on deck, look how much lovely wide space there is right forward. This is not too narrow. The hull is narrow, it's sharp entry, but it really broadens up, which gives you space down below and space up here. And again, once you're up here, there's no steps. You're not going to chip over anything. And it's a really nice arrangement. And you can see there are some different arrangements available. This looks really nice with the synthetic teak and the wooden table. So this becomes another dining space, and you can just perch on this over. It's not a proper seat. However, there is a version with a proper seat, as you can see over here. And that R-facing bench is really nice. I like the nice high backrest as well, so you can tuck yourself in there really comfortably. Even when the boat's moving along, that would be pretty comfortable. Some lighting underneath the eyebrow of the windscreen too. And in this one, we've got hatches with some glazing down into the cabin below. And you may notice this seam around the outside and some hinges. Well, I'll explain what that's about when we head down into the interior. But yeah, really nicely done. Heading back down the starboard side. Let's drop down into the accommodation. I think what's really impressive throughout this boat is head heights. I dropped down quite a long way here, and if you swing the angle around to look at me, then you can see how much space I've got above my head. And natural light's great as well. We saw those hatches a second ago, but they bring in loads of light. You've got nice long hull windows as well. And you've got an opening port here, so you have a bit of natural ventilation. When you first come down the steps, there's a small sofa. And your double bed. Okay, headroom drops quite a lot at the front because obviously that's where that seating space is. But it's a nice sized bed. It's nice and wide, it's nice and low. Easy to get into with fiddles and storage on both sides. And a bit of storage as well for hanging clothes. And again, the quality feels nice. You've got nice high quality catches. The woodwork is good. It feels quite solid. Nice fiddles. They've really thought about it. Yeah, it feels high end. Now, for the life of me, I can't find the light switch for this bathroom, which I apologise for, but I just want to show you the space. There is a bit of natural light from above, so it's not pitch black. But yeah, you can see the bathroom. And again, just look how high it is. In fact, there's even more headroom in here. There is in the cabin. Nicely done. And the final trick down here, I mentioned that seam, is if I push this button and release it, I should be able to push this up and open this entire area up to the foredeck. So if you're down here, you can increase headroom, you can get ventilation. It's not really an access point. There's no ladder. It's not like the Axopar 37 where you can get in and out using their gullwing doors. But you know what? It means you can open up this space really nicely, and it makes it incredibly bright down here, and it means you won't have to rely on air conditioning because, well, you'll get a really nice amount of breeze pouring into here. Let's take the camera out. It's quite an effect. Right, let's see if we can have a look at some of the other versions of the boat. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the cabin because this is where the biggest differences are. So this is the cabin version. And you can tell it already feels really different. And as I said at the start, all of this is modular, so you can remove this aft door, you can remove the side doors, and you can put them back on again when it gets cold. I mean, I don't know how big a job that would be. Obviously they're big, heavy bits of kit, so it's not something an owner can do. You'd need, you know, a mechanic and engineer to come and help you do it, and then where do you store them? You've got to think about all that stuff, but the fact they can do it is a really novel idea. Be interested to see how effective that is. And I'm a little concerned about this hatch, because that is quite a sharp edge, and if you swing the screen round to look at me, because it's quite close to my head, if you're any taller than me, you might be whacking your head on that. But look how it opens up the aft end of the wheelhouse. It is quite clever. And what they've done that quite a lot of boats sort of this style can't do is give you sort of best of both worlds. So you've got seating, you've also got a wet bar. That really is multifunction, is it? It slides as well, like the one over there, so you can bring the outboards up. You've got a grill, you've got a sink. Really nice deep cooler there. But then you can drop this down. There's a cushion that goes on top, so you've got a really nice bench opposite what is a really lovely table. That opens up. Like on the other one we just saw, this flips the other way, so you can have this bench facing this way, and you can see that's how the footrest looks. So it's really, really flexible. And just look at things like this. That ladder, the quality of it. That just looks absolutely lovely, doesn't it? As I said, it's all very much first impressions for me, but initial signs are it's a really quality thing, and they've really thought about the look and feel of everything. They've got a good design team here. These guys know what they're doing. Right, so let's have a look in the cabin version. It's pretty amazing that these doors can just fully come out, but when they're in, they still open up really wide. I mean, look at that void. Really nice. Okay, table inside is a bit smaller, but of course it might be bad weather. You want something you can eat inside. It does open up to make it a bit bigger, and like the other one, this flips the other way. So if you want it to join the dinette, it can. You know, another small galley unit. You've got a microwave on this one, so a little bit more sophisticated in terms of cooking. And this has got the sunroof as well, so you can see how that looks. Nice canvas roof. And you've got this bench running across the back of the wheelhouse. Helm station, really very similar. This particular boat's got a seakeeper fitted, so you see you've got some extra screens, so you can fit stabilisation to this. An expensive option, but one that if you're going to spend a lot of time on anchor, you will really relish. And I think it's got a different arrangement up front. Yes, it has. See, so this looks slightly different to the one we just saw. This looks really nice, doesn't it? I like this combination. The lounger seat. Again, this opens up like the other one, but doesn't that look inviting? Another really nice table. Canvas overhead, and it's not ridiculously low. Sometimes these sort of, if you're standing up, you're ducking your head, but it all works really well. And hopefully I can show you the view in from above the cabin here. Right, let's have a look at the interior. I think it's going to be much the same as the one we've just seen. It's nice and bright down here. Of course, this layout is fixed. This is the same whatever you do. It's not so modular down here, but again, even though there's a slightly different design on the outside of this thing, it still opens up. You've got the catch here. Push that, you can pop it up and get that access that we saw on the other boat. Nicely done. And you can see, yeah, the hull shape over there. Twin steps, and it really broadens out as you get towards the bow. So yeah, there is a lot of competition for this thing. A lot of brands building this type of boat. So it's coming into a crowded market, a brand new name. But I like that they have tried to do things a bit differently. It's not just a carbon copy of everything else that's out there. It's well backed. So really interesting to see how these guys develop. I'd love to know what you think about it. Let me know in the comments below and which version you go for. And do you think the modular thing's a good idea? Being able to take the sides off and stuff. That's all quite new to me. I'll be really interested to see how that works in the long run. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, give it a like. There'll be much more information on yachtbuyer.com. You can head there to find out more about this brand. Thanks for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.